off the air indefinitely. This follows a controversy over comments the late-night comedian made Monday night about Charlie Kirk's suspected killer and the MAGA movement and their reaction to the assassination. Let's get straight to CNN's chief media affairs correspondent, Brian Stelter. Brian, what is going on?
That's right. This is fast developing this afternoon, Jake, amid pressure from the Trump-aligned FCC. And in the past few minutes, ABC confirmed to CNN the Kimmel show will be off the air, quote, indefinitely. We have not yet heard from Kimmel or his representatives. That's how quickly this has been developing. But let's back up and look at what Kimmel actually said on the program that has caused controversy. This is from Monday night in his Monday evening monologue. Kimmel suggested that the alleged killer of Charlie Kirk might have been a pro-Trump Republican. He said, quote, the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. He said in between the finger pointing, there was grieving.
We laugh. They're making a big deal out of this. And it's about time that we say something. We got to speak up for ourselves, right? Black America, do you give a shit about the Jimmy Kimmel show? But neither is the rest of the country, really. And the whole model of the late night shows where everybody's wringing their hands, clutching pearls, losing their shit, people running around talking about the loss of free speech. These are not the two guys, either Kimmel or Colbert are the two guys for you to claim that these people are standing up for truth and justice. They're not speaking truth to power, making a bunch of corny Trump jokes for the last decade, both of them. So excuse us if we ain't feeling sorry for him. I know I'm not feeling sorry for him.
There's only one thing that matters. There's only one thing that matters. We had a threat of retaliation by a government official for someone not pronouncing government-commanded speech. There was an order from the state about what people must say. Jimmy Kimmel did not say that, and his corporation was threatened with consequences by a government official. This is not cancel culture because it's not culture. It's state repression. It's an order from the government. Here's the script you must read. If you do not read it, you will be taken off the air. Jimmy Kimmel didn't read it. He was taken off the air. This cannot be, because he's a comedian, there'll be people who say maybe we shouldn't take this as seriously, but
he's saying it's unfair what happened. He's saying there's no reason why they could pull Kimmel. Well, they didn't pull Kimmel. They say, hey, you might have some problems with the FCC. Because what's been happening over the last 10, 15 years, 10 years, solid 10 years since Trump, they've been making up stuff, saying whatever they want about the guy every night for 10 years straight. That's what they've been doing. And that doesn't mean they're right. It doesn't mean it's right that the FCC is cozying up to Trump. It doesn't mean it's right that they put pressure on ABC. But let's look at the facts here, fam. The facts are both the Colbert show and the Kimmel show were losing money. Colbert, this has never been talking about Colbert, him getting pulled off as if it was an injustice. Everyone running around saying it's an injustice. The guy was losing 30, some say 40. The low end, $30 million on that show. Okay? That's what they were saying. And if I'm not mistaken, that was almost monthly. Right? And they had already hit their peak back in 2018. So since 2018, the Colbert show has been declining. And Kimmel's show is in the toilet too, considering the fact that it poured in more in the demographic of 35 to 49. So it did better with that demographic. But the fact the whole industry is in the garbage can. So what I'm presenting to you is the fact that ABC and CBS wanted to offload these lost leaders, which are shows that ain't making any money. They kept them because they're two rich white guys that other white Americans are used to seeing. And people used like coming on the show. They feel good. It's good for politics. It helps the Democratic Party itself. But it don't make money. It don't make sense. Kimmel's been on the air for 22 years. And for the last 5 years, I question if he's even cut a profit. For 5 years, no profit. And this gave them an opportunity to say, you know what? We can get rid of Kimmel. And we could save face. We could blame Trump. We could cut our losses. And we need to make over this dinosaur media. Because the typical late night structure, that's gone. That's over. Nobody in the late night space is making money. But while all this is going on, Black Americans are sitting back going, we got no skin in this game. We're not watching these shows. And you're not putting us on. Kimmel and Colbert, listen to this. Kimmel's been making about $16 million for the last 20 years. Colbert, about $15 million. $15 to $20 million. Colbert's been making $15 to $20 million for the last decade. So when we start talking about what's fair, what's not fair, is it fair that these guys make this amount of money in a losing industry? There's hemorrhaging watchers. Nobody's tuning in like they used to. The days are over. It's gone for this type of media. This media is dead, but it's a closed loop where it's just for certain people. It's just for rich white guys. So look, when I'm sitting back and watching, I saw Marlon Wayans upset about rich white guy Jimmy Kimmel, who's been making this amount of money every year just to show. We're not talking about anything else he does. Feeling bad, saying this is what America's come to.
Rest in peace, Pops.
Oh,
he's the best.
The best, man.
The best.
Bang, bang, bang.
Oh my gosh, I loved him so much.
We didn't make it to NBC because NBC wanted to. We did a table read, and they thought he was too ghetto, and they want us to have a different father. And they're thinking like a Danny Glover type, and we was like, no.
Love Danny, but also I
it's
love
the flavor of the show.
Pops.
Kimmel did great. He did fantastic. It's our broke asses that ain't doing so well. It's us working class stiffs that are struggling, not Jimmy Kimmel and not Stephen Colbert. And they didn't even have to put together a product that was winning. Their business model failed. You're not getting this. The business model is in the garbage. It's a failing business model. And we got to listen to these people complain. Jimmy Kimmel was complaining when Colbert got the news that he was going to be terminated or the show's going away in May 2026. He's already got another job lined up with more money coming in. But Jimmy Kimmel was complaining. So was Jamie Lee Curtis. They're trying to silence people, but that won't work. It won't work. Now, they're trying to get rid of the fat that's not producing. They're trying to get rid of a show that stunk up the place. That's Colbert. Ben Stiller, Elizabeth Warren reacted with shock. It is trifling for them to get up here and pretend that this is some kind of miscarriage of justice. You know what? Real speech being impeded, real speech being speaking to the masses, saying some real shit. We don't even get to see that on cable news. That doesn't exist in late night TV. They won't allow it. So they're ponying this off as if this is the genuine article. Nobody in America has ever seen any real shit said on late night TV. They have no idea what true speaking is. If they think Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel making Trump jokes is somehow defining moment for civilization, for our culture, for America, for fighting back against the powers that be, for speaking up for Black Americans or speaking up for the working class or whatever. All it is a tit for tat in the Republican versus Democrat war, which don't have nothing to do with working class people, which has nothing to do with Black Americans specifically. Nothing at all. But out will come all of the Hollywood people, all of the stars who have to pretend that some great loss was incurred. There was an ecosystem built around these people going on these shows to help promote things and help the DNC. That's what it was. And I'm not saying Trump is right to lean on them or to have influence with the FCC or whatever the pressures that may have come down for Jimmy Kimmel, but miss me totally with Colbert. This ain't even a conversation. Black people, if you lose 3 million, let alone 30 to 40 million. They give it to you so fast, you get whiplash, throwing you out the door. You understand what I'm saying? When's the last time anything Black got to fail that badly? This is not about free speech. This is about power and money and politics. And all we saw late night media do is become more about politics, but not politics fighting for anybody. Politics playing politics. Politics of Democrats versus Republicans. So if you're a Republican, you watch Fox, you watch The Five. And if you are liberal, you watch this. But those numbers are shrinking because not even that audience gives a damn about what these guys are talking about. We got liberal commentators saying this is an attack on democracy. The only problem with that is it is no democracy. It's not representative of us. Black America, we got no skin in this game. There's nothing for us to win here. We were not even on the board. This has to do with rich white guys making their 10 to 20 mil yearly to put out a product that ain't selling. Where they do that at? Where can I get in line for that type of paper? I don't care if it lasts 3 years. I'm one, you up. These guys are up. And you trying to make us cry for them? You sit up here crying for them? When was the last time one of these platforms gave Black Americans a platform to discuss real shit? Has that ever happened? No, it has not happened. And I don't think it ever will. Then why would we shed a tear? Why would any person who says they advocate for Black America be up here copping pleas for a show that does not benefit our community? I argue it doesn't benefit any community except the Hollywood community and the Democratic Party community. That's about it. Those are the only people that should be upset. Anybody else upset, doesn't get it. We got real issues. We got wealth inequality. We got disparities in healthcare, jobs, education. We got real shit like that needs to be highlighted. And it's got nothing to do with Trump's tiny hands. It's got nothing to do with his hair. It's got nothing to do with if he mispronounced the word. These guys, look, stop framing Kimmel and Colbert as if they were fighters for justice. These were comedians who ceased to be funny, whose market ceased to show up. If you're a touring comedian, there's a lot of touring comedians. If you can't do the numbers at the shows, you can't get booked. These guys weren't doing the numbers and were still getting booked for years. Colbert did recreate his audience back during the pandemic, but ever since then, boom, he was doing shows to a captive audience because he was doing shows at his house or whatever. That's the best he's done in the last 5 years, doing COVID when people didn't have options. Damn, you got to wait for a pandemic for you to see a boost in ratings, a boost in viewership? Yeah, if it takes people to die for you to get a bump in the ratings and the views, well, come on, man. The fall of late night TV tells you one thing. People are tired of rich-ass white comedians or spokesmodels, whatever these people are, pretending to be truth tellers when they're nothing even close to it. Audiences, particularly Black American audiences, have shifted to people like myself and many others in the independent media space, in the commentary space. That's what they've gone to. They've gone to podcasts because we're more authentic, right? We have something to say. We're willing to say it. We're truly the ones taking the risks. When I'm calling out these big names, it's a risk that I'll never get an opportunity, that I will not get an opportunity to grow beyond what I'm doing because of shadow banning, because of being blacklisted. Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon, or Jimmy Kimmel or Stephen Colbert, and yeah, Fallon too, but none of them really ever ran that risk. Not once in their life did they run the risk of the system turning their backs on them. Not once. People don't want propaganda. They don't want fake jokes tied in, hooked in with a laugh track from somebody in the booth. They want to actually be funny. They don't want folks walking around with a sign telling you when to laugh. They want to feel it in the gut. And they ain't been feeling it in the gut with Colbert in some time. 50% of the ad revenue dried up in the last 5 years from these shows. So no matter how good you were doing, the ad revenue wasn't there for his pricey ass staff of cushy writers. Anybody crying about Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel? I don't know where I got this quote, but I love it. Never cry for anybody who owns their own plane. And like Colin says, the upper class keeps all the money, the middle class pays all the taxes, and the poor people, they keep them there just to scare the middle class to keep working. Or something like that.
The Jim Black Show streams Sundays, Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Wolfpack.